Hey, it's Squidly. I am currently on a trip in the Sipsey Wilderness in Alabama, and I am here with Crow from As the Crow Flies Hiking and John from Senior Hiker 77. And one thing that I've said about the Sipsey Wilderness before is that you can come here and do miles if you want to, but coming to the Sipsey Wilderness is more about the camp experience. And that's what I want to talk about in this video, and they're going to help me. Because what we're talking about is gear that we bring specifically for camp to make camp better. Okay, John, show me some of the gear that you brought just for the camp experience on this trip.
Well, this is no recommendation, but this is what I bring. Over the years, I figured out what works for me. The first thing, and that's been on every, it's like a security blanket, I guess, but this goes with me on every hike. It just makes me feel safer, and so bear spray is what I use to give me that feeling of peace. The next thing is a chair. Seem like, now, I mean, none of these might work on a through hike, but a chair works on my hikes. And this particular one is the one I've settled with, the Big Agnes Mica Basin. The third thing for the last 5 years, if you notice this piece of cloth I've got on the ground, this now is known as it's a ground cloth that I use. I can fold it up and move it any way I want. So those are the three things that go with me on every hike, unless it's a day hike. Of course, that's different. But every hike, overnighter, a weekend, those three things go with me.
All right, Crow, share with me some of the things you brought on this hike just for camp.
Just for camp, thing that I always use is a two-part system for my sleeping pad, and that is I always have a footprint underneath. I use different things, sometimes Tyvek. This just been an old footprint from an old tent. And then on top of that, and use this for many years and have never popped a sleeping pad. That is a double layer, so I have a second Gossamer Gear foam 1/8 pad that I put under my sleeping pad, and I've never had a sleeping pad have a hole in it doing that. And then the third thing that I always bring is my trekking poles for my tent, because you've got to have trekking poles for your tent. Oh well, never mind.
These are great. These are really modern.
I used to always bring trekking poles until this trip, and plan B. The other thing I failed to mention that I always have, pretty much in every trip, except when it's just like August or something, is a puffy jacket. This is that, oh, I forget what it's called. The inexpensive puffy jacket by, what's it called? Decathlon. And it's very inexpensive and still keeps you warm. So I always keep it because you never know at night when it gets cool. The other thing the last thing I'd say about that Gossamer Gear 1/8 pad is, not only does it protect your sleeping pad, but it also keeps you from sliding around, because if you got sil nylon or some fabric that's the same as the pad, you're going to slide up and down, and it kind of keeps it steady. Something I use.
It's done. All right, now for mine, and what you're going to see is kind of a theme here. There's a little bit of redundancy and a little bit that's not as redundant. But I also bring a chair. I bring the Helinox Chair Zero, because if you're going to spend a lot of time in camp, you're going to want to be comfortable and be able to sit around and sit around the campfire and sort of shoot the breeze with everybody that you're there with. The other things that I bring, just like Senior Hiker 77, I bring the ground cloth. And for me, that's good for two reasons. One is I use it as a doormat for my tent, so I'm not, it's a place to put my knee down as I'm getting in the tent, so I don't drag in all the sand, dirt, leaves, and everything from the forest into the tent with me. And it's also for accountability. So later on tonight, when I'm eating supper, what I'm going to do is, next to my chair, I'm going to have that with me, and everything that I have is going to be touching that ground cloth, so that I don't end up losing some of my stuff on the ground and in the leaves, and it kind of just get lost. If it's touching that, then I know that I can keep up with it. The third one is something you probably don't want to look too closely at, but I have a Nalgene canteen that I use as my nighttime relief bottle, pee bottle, whatever you want to call it. And it makes it so much easier to take care of your nightly needs like that and not have to get up out of the tent and walk away. Take care of it right there, and then just later on in the morning after you get up, then you can go empty it. All right, that is several, I don't know how many, I may have to count that up, pieces of gear that we bring only for camp. Do me a favor, in the comments, tell me some things that we missed, some things that you bring only for camp that makes your camp experience a little bit better. And on the way out, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Okay, that's it.
No, I was just thinking that you probably could get by with the Sawyer squeeze bottle.